Hello everyone, I'm Forrest McFreelava, and this is Speedplay Conclave number 18. We left off with Swabia having become independent. Luckily we are the heir, and we're plotting to kill its emperor. So with that all said and done, we're also going to try to expand into Croatia while we wait for that plot to unfold. We go ahead and fabricate claims, or ask the Pope for claims on Croatia, Slavonia, and previously on Venice. We go to get a claim on Bosnia, however we don't have enough piety, which is terribly unfortunate. I hadn't considered that, as the person we had succeeded had thousands of piety from giving all of the Byzantine East to Catholics. Unfortunately, we're not quite in that spot. We go ahead and just attempt to buy an indulgence for our sins to get some piety. It would cost an outrageous amount of money, so we turn that down and focus our attention over to the west, where Muslims control all of Spain, and we're the heir, so we can hopefully just sort of take back control over that area. Luckily, our plot is about to fire with an assassination attempt, and it manages to succeed very luckily. So just like that, we're back in control of Swabia and all of Iberia in the process. That vassal who hated our father hates us, or I guess just our predecessor also hates us. And there is a Muslim in control of most of the peninsula who we can hopefully strip titles from and just begin to undo their legacy and really all that we had created in the first episodes of this series. We're going to go very quickly through this because it's basically the same process as we saw before. We also have to deal with just handing out titles in the Byzantine rest of the empire. And really it is just going to be a lot of managing titles for the near future, as we're going to be deconstructing and rebuilding Spain, which will hopefully give us the piety we need to move forward and actually claim all of Croatia, and then hopefully also by replacing all of the aristocrats in Iberia, we'll get them all to have positive relations of us. That way we'll be able to change the laws. We attempted to ask for another duchy. Unfortunately, our vassal rebelled at this point, which admittedly is a bit sensible. They won't win, of course. However, we were just going to strip them from all of their titles anyway. So it does make sense that they did ultimately rebel. It isn't too much of an issue, though. We do have a lot of forces in the area. We're not even bringing most of our forces to bear. We are bringing them all up into one consolidated location, though, just to make everything work as best as we possibly can. We also do have a bit of an issue with factionalism in the Byzantine East, which could very well threaten to overthrow us, and is a much larger threat than what's going on in Iberia right now. So with that said and done, we find a family member we can hopefully grant some titles to, and we go ahead and grant him our old power base, which is just the Kingdom of Armenia, which we hand to him as a viceroyalty, of course. That does limit the power of the factions, just not all that much. We still have a huge risk in just from them, so we go ahead and attempt to kill one of the faction leaders. We do have about 300% plot power, so hopefully that event will fire fairly soon, and it looks like it's going to fire in the next few moments, which would be fantastic. We also still have some people who are complete threats. We do manage to succeed with that assassination attempt. Unfortunately, we are discovered, so his heir hates us. So we're not going to give him control of the area. We'll give it to various other vassals and just kind of weaken the control of our family in the region, although in the process just strengthen our control over the state. Meanwhile, the civil war is going fairly well. We have essentially won all of the major battles, and it's just a matter of sieging them out and getting to 100% war score, which will hopefully happen fairly quickly, and then we can get back to the rather tedious but ultimately safe process of stripping everyone of their titles. You'll see the battle is going drastically in our favor, which is very nice, and even the factionalism in our country is dying down, at least somewhat. Although it is still a threat, which is something to be worried about. There's a new pope, still our vassal though, so we go ahead and just mess around with him a bit, mainly to just get money and whatnot. We chase down the armies in the west, and it looks as though that's going to work out fairly well. Notably, Swabia is still under a different succession law than our state, or than the Byzantine Empire at large, which is potentially very, very worrying. And anyway, we are able to accept peace just now, which is very helpful. and we're just going to be able to really speed up the process of just destroying all that is Muslim Spain, Muslim Iberia, Muslim Swabia, Muslim Hispania, whatever you want to call it. We're dismantling the whole thing, and we're going to rebuild it duchy by duchy as minor viceroyalties. We could eventually set up larger kingdom-level viceroyalties, but we're probably not going to do that, at least for some time. And most importantly, these vassals will all like us at least somewhat and be the right culture and religion. So hopefully they won't be joining all of the factionalism set up against us. And it'll kind of just secure our power base. They'll all have positive relations, so we'll be able to change succession laws. One issue to that is there is still a viceroy king in the south who hates us like he hated our predecessor. So we're going to have to try to scheme our way into resolving that. Otherwise, though, you'll notice that we are making some pretty great progress, seizing just more and more of the territories. We do start granting out various titles to just other peoples in the state in order to increase their relations with us, mainly just titular duchies, and we're sending them out as viceroyalties. So you'll notice the factions are getting rather weak. We do also grant the Kingdom of Italy as a viceroyalty. One of our attempted assassinations was discovered, which is terribly unfortunate. But we're already a known murderer and kinslayer, so it doesn't matter all that much. We do go ahead and try to find a way to just revoke titles from this vassal who absolutely hates us. What we do is we claim various duchies of his with the help of the Pope, and then we go ahead and just ask him for them. Now, since he's rebellious, it's likely that he'll turn that down. Sadly, he does accept the first one. However, with the Duchy of Portugal, it says that he will not actually accept. So we go ahead, claim it, move in, he declares independence, or at least attempts to, and now we can just fight him off and hopefully put him in prison. The battles are going fairly in our favor, which is great news, and really the trick was, now that we've got him to actually declare an attempt at independence, it's done, it's over for him. We're just going to take everything that we can, and just manage to take over control over all of Swabia, all of the bits that we haven't already, and give them to vassals who are more loyal to us. So that's basically the plan right now. You'll notice there are still a few areas that need to be cleaned up from just various Muslim areas. That's mostly taken care of by this point, though. There's just a few stragglers. And our armies are all preparing to just siege out these final areas and then move against their last army, which will hopefully win us the war. You'll notice all of the slight tedium that I've been just fast-forwarding through of giving all of these titles to various people of our religion and culture. But this is just the very last of it, so we're almost done. And we do give one area over to just religious officials, making a religious state up in Santiago. We win the battle and win the war in the process. There we go. We can go ahead and revoke one title for free because he rebelled. We'll revoke his kingdom. We can also get a claim on his duchies and revoke those as well. This way, all he has left are viceroyalties, which will just go revert to us on his succession. And with all of the terrible luck we've had keeping prisoners alive who we've wanted to live, hopefully he will just sort of die in prison relatively quickly like all of them. And if he does that, then we'll have only vassals who like us, and we'll be able to change the succession laws after 10 years have passed. Overall, that really does clean up everything there. We can also finish making claims on all of the territories. We do go ahead and grant a Holy Order a title over here in the Middle East. And from there, it's just a matter of attempting to get people to join our country. We do manage to get one. So Italy is almost completely cleaned up. There we go, they're in the state. We go ahead and transfer vassalage of them. And we've already fabricated claims on most of Croatia, I believe. The factions are all relatively reasonable now, not so much of a threat. And, best of all, we're able to throw our vassal king into the oblite. And that will lower his health, and hopefully he'll die fairly sooner, and the succession will kick in, and we'll be able to change laws. So, thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. You'll notice that we are getting quite a bit of score after only 5 years. And if you'll notice, we have done quite a bit of harm to our actual direct family-controlled areas. although I feel like the state is stronger for it. Anyway, have a great day. We'll be back with a regularly scheduled one a day through the week on Monday.